So Rian Johnson is back after directing Star Wars The Last Jedi. So that's fun. Knives Out was directed by Rian Johnson, who also directed Looper, which I enjoyed, and then he also directed Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I did not enjoy. Knives Out has a humongous cast with Daniel Craig, Toni Collette, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Chris Evans. We have a lot of big name actors here. And they all play very eccentric characters, and they're really entertaining to watch. And all of these characters play their part in an extremely dysfunctional family. And among this dysfunctional family, the patriarch, who is a very renowned novelist, has suddenly committed suicide. Or has he? Within this classic whodunit genre, we have Ana de Armas, who is actually our main character, which is a little bit different. Usually the inspector is seen as the main character and we're supposed to be unraveling this mystery alongside of them, but Ana de Armas is the caretaker for Christopher Plummer, the patriarch. Ana de Armas did a really good job with her character, with how much screen time and lines that she had. The only other thing that I've seen her in is Blade Runner 2049, and I thought she did an exceptional job in that as well, but as a main character, I thought that she performed excellently. And beside her, we have our investigator, played by Daniel Craig, who has this southern accent that he pulls, and it's just very distinct from anything that I feel he's ever done before. We know him mostly from playing James Bond, and it's really great to see people who are kind of in these big roles being able to break out of those and play some interesting characters, and I think this was a great opportunity for him. And I could go on and on about this cast. They all play very distinct characters who have very apparent flaws, and they're really entertaining, as I said. Rian Johnson's movies always have great cinematography. That has never been a problem in any of his movies, and this movie is no exception. Another thing Rian Johnson does really well in this movie was balancing the two tones of comedy and suspense within this film. And generally, Knives Out is a satire of the whodunit genre. Just between all the characters interacting with each other, fighting and bickering with each other, how they perceive each other. And then on the other hand, it's obviously a suspenseful thriller, since we're trying to figure out who might have committed a murder. Rian Johnson does a really good job at balancing these two. And in the suspenseful moments, Rian Johnson does a good job at bringing in all the clues, making it complicated enough to be impressive, but also not too complicated that you won't be able to understand what's happening. Now, my main criticism of this movie comes when they reveal some big part of the story at the beginning of the second act. And this plot point was meant to be an unconventional way of telling the story, but I thought that it took away from my interest for most of the rest of the movie. And it's not that the rest of the movie wasn't exciting or interesting. I just thought that after this plot point was revealed, it was far less interesting for the rest of the movie than it was before I knew this part. And along with this movie being a whodunit movie, I think the rewatchability is a little bit lower. When you know what happens, it's far less interesting. It's not as much of an adventure you're going on when you're watching a movie. You kind of know where the movie's going to end up, which is kind of the point of this whole movie, so its rewatchability for me is a little bit low. I really enjoyed Knives Out, and I'm glad that Rian Johnson was able to move on from Star Wars. Knives Out is a good time.
The dude is not in. Leave a message after the beep. Protectionist.
If you have a dysfunctional family, I think that you'll really enjoy Knives Out, or if you don't have a dysfunctional family, it's fun to watch it anyways. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you could, press the like, subscribe to the notification button, and follow me on Instagram at Jared Gilster. You'll be able to see when I'm releasing all of my new content, and I'll see you next time.